Hello, welcome to Luann's Creative Corner. Today I'm going to be making a galaxy card featuring a spiral pop-up. This card has a galaxy piece, an earth piece, which is made using a faux watercolor technique, and then a spiral pop-up in the center that you can see there. This card is a lot of fun and not all that hard to make, although it does have a lot of bits and pieces. These are great masculine cards that can be used for a lot of different occasions. I first designed it as a birthday card for a nephew. I made 2 of them for Father's Day, and the card I'll be making today will be a thank you card. I also used it as a project for my craft program for kids. It was very popular, and it has been our most well-attended activity so far. Lots of kids came and made these cards for their fathers for Father's Day. I'm showing a few of the kids' cards here. Look at the great watercolor earths the kids made. Every single one turned out beautifully. Of course, you could use traditional watercolor methods with a brush and a set of watercolors, but I needed a way to get the same effect very quickly and cleanly with a lot of kids in a very short period of time. If you haven't used watercolor paper before, I think this is a great way to try it out for the first time. You will need some watercolor paper, some water-based markers such as Crayola, and a spray bottle with water. I used Canson cold press watercolor paper, which I cut to 5 by 5.5 inches. Since this is an earth piece, I chose browns, greens, blues, and I threw in an orange and a yellow marker to add a bit of brightness. So you saw I taped the watercolor paper down to a board. I used painter's tape. You can use any type of low-tack tape. This helps keep it from warping while it dries. Sorry, I was shaking the camera a little bit as I colored there, and I didn't notice until after. So I like to create some blue lakes and rivers, some trees, little patches of brown earth. But as you're doing it, don't worry about the small details because they all blend together once you spray the paper. So you just want to get some really good color down. You can also affect the blending and the saturation of the color by how much water you spray. And so as you see, I'm starting to spray here. It just depends on the effect you're going for in your finished piece by how much color you would like. Another idea is to do 2 pieces at once. There's always one that I like better than the other, and then you have a second piece to use for another project later on. So use a paper towel to soak up any puddles of water as it collects along the edges. Don't be afraid to spray some more water if you're not liking what it's doing. You can also tilt your board a little bit to get the water to go in a direction you want. Spray more water, and a lot of times you just want to sit and let it dry. Let the watercolor paper do its thing. And then once it's completely dry, if you have a heat tool, you can speed up the drying process or just wait and let it dry. It doesn't take all that long. And then just carefully remove your tape. And then you can sit back and look at what you've created, which in this case is a bit of an abstract representation of Earth. I really like the one on the left, and that's what you'll see me use later on in the video for my card. I actually made a couple more watercolor pieces, as you can see here. I've done all the coloring. I'm using a metal cart. This is what we used during the craft program with the kids. We use the flat top of this cart, and instead of using tape though to hold the watercolor paper down, we used magnets on the corners and then in the centers along the edges, and it worked really well to keep the paper from warping as it dried, and it was a lot quicker than taping each piece down. So you can see I sprayed these with water. I feel like I sprayed a little bit too much water for the one on the right. I really like the one on the left though, and that's the one I used in the card you saw at the beginning. Here they are zoomed in to show some of the details. They are both very pretty, and I saved the other one to use on another card sometime. All right, let's move on to the galaxy piece. There are a lot of awesome galaxy techniques out there, but here I opted to go again very simple. I used colored pencils, sparkly gel pens, some stamping on just black cardstock. I started by stamping on a piece of black cardstock that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. I used some white craft ink. This is Stampin' Up! Whisper White craft ink. I just went through my stash and looked for some star stamps. I'm using here some of the star stamps from Lawn Fawn's Upon a Star, which is an awesome set. You'll see it there at the side. And then I also had just an old dots set, an old wood mount set that had a star in it. I don't even know the name of it. And then I had a tiny star in an old Hero Arts tiny stamps set. So then after stamping, I went to the colored pencils and just started drawing some spirals and curved lines, other little stars, little dots. Just play and have fun creating your galaxy. The colored pencils I used here are Prismacolor Premier pencils. They are very nice. I used white, cloud blue, metallic gold, and silver. But use any colored pencils you have. I find that white works really well, and then just test any other colors you want of a light blue, or if you have metallics, those work out really well. Also, I used the Pentel Sparkle Pop gel pens. They give a really nice coverage when you're coloring with them. They are wonderful. And they also do different colors on different colored paper. So you just want to test those as well before you use them. But any gel pens that you have, sparkly ones, are awesome. And for those, I used gold and silver. If you don't have stamps, you can use stickers. There are lots of great star stickers out there. Very shiny metallic star stickers for very inexpensive. And or draw your own stars. I've done a few of my own too. And the more of yourself that you put into it, the more personalized it is for whoever you give the card to. So there is a quick and easy galaxy piece. Now on to our spiral pop-up. You just need a small piece of colored paper for this. If you want to draw your spiral first before you cut it out, that's a great way to make sure that you're happy with what your spiral looks like. The diameter of the circle around the outside of the spiral should be about 3 inches. If you wanted to make it a little larger, you could. And then you just use scissors to cut out a spiral until you go right down to the center of the circle and make a little spring there. If you don't want to draw your spiral first, just cut a piece of paper to be 3 by 3. Then trim off the edges, and there you have your circle to start from. And it definitely doesn't have to be perfect. And then trim and just try to make sure that the arms of your spiral are pretty even to each other. But again, it definitely doesn't have to be perfect. You'll still get that spiral effect in your pop-up. And if you don't like it, just do another one because it's just a little scrap of paper. So there you have the spiral pop-up. I'm showing here the rocket that I used. I colored with gel pens and markers. And here's the set that it came from. It's a very old foam mounted set. If you don't have a rocket stamp or a sticker, you could find one online to print. Or here is a set from Lawn Fawn that has a rocket, astronaut, some really great sentiments. I didn't buy it, but I do like it. So here I'm showing one option for your earth piece is to die cut it into a circle. For the kids, I had circle templates, and so you can just draw a circle and cut it. And here is the second option, which is just to curve the top. So I'm using an oval die here, but I'm not going to cut with it. I'm just going to use it to draw onto the piece, just to give myself a nice curve up at the top. So it's just however you want your earth piece to look. You can do a full circle. In this case, I wanted to showcase as much of the watercolor as possible. And so I just curved at the top, so we're zoomed in a little bit on the earth. And now we're ready to assemble the card. The card base is a piece cut to 4 1/4 by 11, which you then fold in half. The color of the cardstock that I've used here is Nina Blast Off Blue, which I thought was fun for this card. So you'll put your earth piece on the bottom part of the card and then glue your galaxy piece on the top. You can see on the back I was practicing there. I find it easier to turn the card upside down to glue that, and with the dimensions I use, there is a little bit of a border around that galaxy. There are a lot of different sentiments that go well with this card. I just typed a whole variety of them into Word and then use the text feature that lets it turn it into a curved sentiment and use those. So for the pop-up feature, you're going to, on the edge of your pop-up, attach it to the back of your rocket first. This is how I found the best way to do it so that your spiral doesn't get mixed up. So the first thing that you do is put a little bit of double-sided adhesive on the back of your rocket. And then that edge right there of your spiral, attach that to it. All right. And then you will want to put that onto your card, attach that to your card. And I used double-sided adhesive because I didn't want wet liquid glue to then seep out and possibly mess up the spiral as well. Then in the center of your spiral, and so then attach it where you want at the top of your card. And then put a little bit of a small square of adhesive there in the center of your spiral, and then close your card on it so that it attaches at the bottom wherever it needs to, so that your spiral will stay flat when the card is closed. And then there you have your pop-up feature, and it's attached that easily. I do suggest that you make sure to put your rocket as high up at the top of your card as you can, so that as it's opened, that lets the spiral stretch as much as it possibly can and give as much bang for your buck with that spiral pop-up feature. So you'll see here I'm attaching some star stickers. It doesn't hurt anything to attach things to the spiral, and so some little metallic stars there goes well. Just make sure if you're going to use stickers that you put, if some of it pokes off the edge of your spiral, which I think is nice to have it makes it more noticeable that way, but then put one on the back as well so that it won't stick together when you close your card. You could also draw some flames along the spiral, maybe use a sparkly gel pen to decorate that spiral even a little bit more. So I'm showing here the cards I had made at Father's Day. I really liked how those watercolor pieces turned out. So after all this time showing the insides of cards, you're probably wondering what to do with the front of the card. I think this is where you can really individualize the card for whatever type of card you'd like to do. Here I'm showing the front of the thank you cards that I made during this video. I did 2. And those are the front of the thank you, just simple embossing. And then this one was a birthday card for a young nephew. I used Lawn Fawn's Upon a Star, and the stars were done with their glow-in-the-dark embossing powder. So there you have one idea for how to do a spiral pop-up in a card. I've seen other spiral pop-ups online, lots of butterflies and hearts, musical notes, very cute cards, but I didn't see very many masculine cards using this feature, and I thought it worked out great with this type of a galaxy thing and rockets. So what other ideas do you have for the spiral pop-up feature? It's a great feature, very simple, and yet a lot of bang for your buck as you open it up. It's a lot of fun. Share your ideas in the comments below. I would love to have other ideas of themes of cards that could be made using this very fun, simple spiral pop-up idea. Also, if you make a galaxy card with a spiral pop-up, I would love to see it. Thanks for joining me here at Luann's Creative Corner. Please subscribe and join me again soon. Have a great day.